Hello, everybody, and welcome to Written in Blood. My name is John, and today I am finally, after a kind of a long hiatus, if you want to say, I am finally actually able to do a decent-sized book haul. I mean, it's not huge, but it's a little bit bigger than the last two that I did. And this is take two of this video, because the first time I got this real bad tickle in the back of my throat, and it just did not want to go away. That happens sometimes. I'm okay, but I've got a little bit of coffee, and if you notice, this says "Love You More." Well, this is the second mug in a Valentine gift set that I got from my wife. So yeah, this is like, nothing horror related or anything like that. So let me take a sip of this. I'm going to put it aside, and then I'm going to go ahead and start. Okie dokie. All right. So first off, I've got books from Amazon. I've got books from book mail that was sent to me, and I've got books from Book Outlet. So let's go ahead and get underway, and we'll start with Amazon. All right, I've got two books. Okay, the first one up is Red Right Hand, and this is by Levi Black. Okay. And I have tried to get this one on Book Outlet for a long time, and I put it in my wish list, and then I don't get to it fast enough, and it just keeps selling out and selling out. All right, so yes. Let's see what it says about it. Charlie Tristan Moore isn't a hero. She's a survivor, already wrestling with the demons of her past. She finds herself tested as never before when she arrives home one night to find herself under attack by three monstrous skinhounds straight out of a nightmare. Just as hope seems lost, she is saved by a sinister man in black, dressed in a long, dark coat that seems to possess a life of its own and wielding a black-bladed sword in his grisly red right hand. But her rescue comes at a cost. The man in black, a diabolical elder god, demands she become his acolyte and embrace a dark magic she never knew she possessed. To ensure her obedience, he takes her friend and possible love, Daniel, in thrall as a hostage. Now she must join the man in black in his crusade to track down and destroy his fellow elder gods, supposedly to save humanity from being devoured for all eternity. But is the man in black truly the lesser of two evils, or a menace far more treacherous than the eldritch horrors she's battling in his name? Anyway, that is Red Right Hand, and this is book one of the Mythos War trilogy. All right. Okay, and let me put this down here. Sorry about that. I don't have a little tape. My table's kind of far away. Next up, now this one is not horror. It's fantasy. And it's I've had this already, and I wanted to get the illustrated edition because I do have the first book in an illustrated edition with some really awesome artwork in it. I'm talking about A Clash of Kings, and this is of course by George R.R. Martin, and this is of course book two of the A Song of Ice and Fire saga or adventure, whatever you want to call it, So let me go ahead and open up, show some of the artwork. There's like three separate segments of artwork. So let's go ahead and show one from I'll show one from all three segments, I think. Let me see here. Let me find a good one in the first segment. Okay. So here's one of the three-eyed raven. And I'm not sure who it's attacking, or it looks like it's attacking someone. Possibly Bran. I'm not sure. I'm reading A Clash of Kings or listening to it on audiobook, and I think I'm going to move from audiobook to just regular reading a regular book because I'm really not into audiobooks that much. I just don't really have the time, so now from the second set this is I believe this here is Daenerys and Viserion. And I think this may be Arya, but I'm not 100% sure. And then finally, let's do one more. Here's one here. I believe this is supposed to be Melisandre, Melisandre, the Red Woman. Okay. Anyway, like I said, I've got the first book of Game of Thrones as an illustrated edition. The illustrations are really awesome, really cool, really neat. So yeah, I wanted to get this one, and I do hope they continue with the rest of these. I would love to have illustrated editions of all the books that have so far been released, which is in the Song of Ice and Fire has been 5 since the last one was A Dance with Dragons. So I'll say this like everybody else is saying: hurry up, George R.R. Martin, we want more books. So all right, okay. And next up, I have got book mail. These books have been sent to me by authors and also by some publishers. First up, I've got from Lucas Mangum, and this is Saint Sadist. And he actually was cool and signed it for me. Where'd he go? There he is. Hey, right here. And it says, John, thanks for connecting. I hope you dig the book. And he scrawled his name across there. So, all right. Let's see. This is from Grindhouse Press, by the way. Pregnant with her father's child, 19-year-old Courtney is a girl on the run, willing to do anything to make her way on the road. When a car accident leaves her wounded by the side of a desolate highway, she is taken in by an environmentalist doomsday cult led by the enigmatic St. Ambrose, a charismatic preacher and environmental scientist who gave up everything after claiming to see the face of God. When he meets the seemingly vulnerable Courtney, he is taken by her beauty and her wounded soul. Now, with the promise of salvation hanging in the balance, Courtney must undergo a series of trials, each more painful and humiliating than the last. Her incestuously conceived baby growing in her womb, a strange presence visiting her at night, and telling her Ambrose has lost his way, and it is she who must overthrow him. So anyway, that is Saint Sadist, and that sounds like it's going to be a pretty gnarly read. Can't wait to dive into it. And of course, I got this. I told him I would review it, so of course I will. Try to keep my word. All right. Next up, and this is published by Aberrant Literature, and this one is by Ashton McCauley, and this is Whiteout. And as you can see in the right here, the white shadow of a Sasquatch or a Yeti. And he was cool too. He actually signed it also. He said, John, thank you for taking the time to review my book. I hope you enjoy the adventure. And he signed his name, and he also put, I swear that's my name. My cursive is just horrible. That's okay. Don't worry. Mine is not that great either, Ashton. And this is a Nick Ventnor adventure. So, excuse me. Nick Ventnor is a drunk with a blatant disregard for others. He's also damn good at hunting creatures that aren't supposed to exist. From amateur necromancers in the bayou to Sasquatch impersonators in the Pacific Northwest, Nick's seen it all, even if some of the details might be a little fuzzy. In Whiteout, Nick faces his greatest challenge to date. Accompanied by his trusty mountain guide, Lopsang, and his testy apprentice, James, Nick journeys into the Himalayas to settle a matter of pride and payouts as he searches for the lost riches of Shangri-La, rumored to lie within the mountain's peak. However, the sudden arrival of Nick's greatest adversary, Manchester, complicates matters and pits the two in a race towards the top, where both soon find that they have not just one another to contend with, but also a mythical and elusive Yeti that has been terrorizing the mountain. Featuring death-defying obstacles, hair-raising encounters with creatures from beyond, and a heavy dose of sarcasm along the way, Whiteout is sure to satisfy anyone looking for a fast-paced adventure novel brimming with action, suspense, and imagination. Not to mention the occasional whiskey on the rock. That last part, the whiskey on the rock, one of my fellow booktubers, Lost Cunningham, Timmy, he always does like a little toast. When he starts his videos or sometime during his videos and stuff, he always does like a little toast with some libation. And I guarantee you he would probably appreciate that occasional whiskey on the rocks. So here we go. This is Whiteout by Ashton McCauley. All right. And let me take another sip of coffee here. Excuse me. I apologize for that. Oh, by the way, the cup, I know it says love you more. My wife's cup is a white cup, and it says love you because whenever we tell each other we love each other, I say I love you, and she says I love you more, or vice versa. So, yeah, ain't that sweet. Anyway. All right, so next up, I got these books in the mail today. These are from Apex Publishing. Jason was nice enough to send these to me. The first one up is Greener Pastures. Sorry about the glare. And this is by Michael Wiant. And this is a collection of short stories. It doesn't really say much about them, except on the back it says, "They say there are always greener pastures. These stories consider the cost of that promise." And this guy must be a pretty good writer because he's got a lot of praise inside the book. Praise from Paul Tremblay, Gemma Files, Steve Rasnick Tim, John Langan, Brian Evanson, Bracken McLeod, just to name a few. So the guy must be a pretty decent writer. It's a fairly small read. It's maybe, 200 pages, I think. I don't guess it really matters. 191 pages, so this could be a pretty quick read. And I'll get a review out for that here pretty soon, I hope. Next up is from Kirk Jones. And this is a novel of paranoid science fiction, and this is called Aetherchrist. All right. And it just says on the back of it, the digital era. Analog is all but dead, but the rusted towers still strobe on the evening horizon. Not much more known about it. Let's see, does it tell me anything more? No, it does not. So yeah, that is Aetherchrist, a novella of paranoid science fiction. And that is one medium I usually do not read, so it's going to be interesting to see how I fare as far as doing a review for it. You know, because I've never really reviewed science fiction. I've not really read much science fiction. I've read a little bit of Michael Moorcock, the Elric Saga, which that's more fantasy though. I tried reading Isaac Asimov, and it's just like, wow, you know. So, you know, and I have read some Ray Bradbury, and you could consider a lot of his work to be science fiction. So, yeah, and I have read a little bit of Harlan Ellison. Of course, I've read the phenomenal I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Wow, what a book, or what a story. Okay, next up is Ration, and this is by Cody Luff, or Cody T. Luff. Okay. Cynthia and Ameld have always lived in the apartments, a world where every calorie is rationed and the girls who live there are forced to weigh their own hunger against the lives of the others. It's a world where the threat of the wet room and Ms. Lyon lingers, and punishments are doled out both by the women who oversee them and the other girls, and women, may I mention, is with a capital W. When Cynthia is wrongly accused of eating an A ration, her peers punish her harshly. In seeking revenge, she is forced from the only home she has ever known out into the broader world with one of the women, Miss Glennock, who has tormented her for years. With her friend and Miss Glennock gone, Imeld is lost. Miss Tuttle forces her to step into Miss Glennock's shoes, taking on the role of a woman in charge of all the girls, the punishments, and the wet room. The new role feels wrong, especially as Miss Tuttle's behavior becomes more and more erratic. Imeld can't turn her back on the other girls in the apartments, but how can she save them when she isn't sure how to save herself? Set in the far future, Ration is an unflinching take on the ways society can both thrive and go wrong as the pressure to survive builds. And that is Ration by Cody T. Luff. All right. Okay, so next up is my book outlet mail, or book outlet haul. So I've got 5 books. I'm going to go ahead and get these 2 out of the way first. I don't know if I want to read the synopsis for these because these are book 2 and book 3 of the Mythos War, which book 1 is, of course, Red Right Hand. So I don't really want to spoil anything. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a. All right, so the first one is book 2, and this is Black Goat Blues. And I kind of wonder, since this seems to be kind of a cosmic horror, I'm wondering by Black Goat if they're not referring to the elder god Shub-Niggurath, aka the Black Goat of the Woods, which was one of H.P. Lovecraft's creations. I believe he created Shub-Niggurath. I think so. I correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Does it say? Okay. Well, you know what? I'm not going to read. I'm not going to read too much about this. Because it does reveal who the Man in Black actually is. So I don't reveal too much about that. And you know what? I'm not going to read the synopsis for this because if anybody's interested in reading it, I don't want to spoil anything. So yeah, this is Black Goat Blues by Levi Black. Okay. And then book 3, and this is the final book of the Mythos War, and this is Death Goddess Dance. And also the same thing being said, I don't think I'm going to read the synopsis. Yeah, okay. And again, this one also features another elder god that is a creation of H.P. Lovecraft. And that's the thing I like about H.P. Lovecraft's writing is that he encouraged other writers to expand on it, to create their own mythos, so to speak, with the characters. And that's what Levi Black is doing with these books. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading these. Anyway, the third book in the trilogy is Death Goddess Dance. All right? Okay. And moving on with another book of Lovecraftian or cosmic horror. And this one is actually a response to H.P. Lovecraft's The Horror at Red Hook, which is one of his most racist stories. And this is by Victor Laval, and this is The Ballad of Black Tom. And like I said, it's kind of an answer from Victor Laval to The Horror at Red Hook. Charles Thomas Tester hustles to put food on the table to keep the roof over his father's head from Harlem to Flushing Meadows to Red Hook. He knows what magic a suit can cast, the invisibility a guitar case can provide, and the curse written on his skin that attracts the eyes of wealthy white folks and their cops. But when he delivers an occult book to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens, Tom opens the door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. A storm that might swallow the world is building in Brooklyn. Will Black Tom live to see it break? And from Laird Barrett it says, Laval's novella of sorcery and skullduggery in Jazz Age New York is a magnificent example of what weird fiction can and should do. So anyway, this is The Ballad of Black Tom, Vol. All right. Okay, and next up, these are... I've been wanting to get the hardcover edition of this for a long time. I'm not going to read the synopsis about it because if you have not seen the movie or read the book, you've had 40 years to do it, okay? I mean, seriously, anybody knows what The Exorcist is about. So, I've just wanted to get a hold of a hardcover edition of this book. I don't even have a soft cover, a paperback edition. And I've just wanted to get a hold of it for a long time. This is the 40th anniversary edition. It's got the kind of, I cannot remember what this cover is, what this is called. It's kind of the rough edges, which I think is pretty neat. I like that. Let's see. Let me look at the inside cover. No, I was going to say there's anything special about it, but it's not. It's just a black cover. So yeah, that is The Exorcist. Okay. And last but not least, finally, and all that jazz, I've got illustrated by Becky Cloonan. This is Dracula. And this is my second edition of Dracula that I own. I've got a leather-bound edition that's pretty cool, too. And let me see. Let me find an illustration here. Where's the? Let me find one here. Find a good one that I like. Maybe you guys like it too. The illustrations are it's kind of cool because the illustrations are off to the side instead of taking up the entire page. At least some of them are. Here we go. This one is. I believe this is supposed to be Lucy as the Bloofer lady. After she is killed by Dracula and comes back and starts attacking the children in the area. And then there are some that do take up an entire page. Let me see. Is there any of Dracula himself? Yeah, here's one. I believe that might be. I'm not sure if that's Dracula or if it's Quincy Morris. It may be Quincy, but with the red eyes or the. Yeah, I think it's Quincy. But anyway, this is Dracula, and this is the illustrated edition. And, of course, you know who's by Bram Stoker, of course. I have to tell you that. So, yeah, that is it. That is my book haul, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Try not to lose your shit, so to speak, you know. And just take care, y'all. All right? I mean, yeah, so take care. And that's going to do it. And I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye, whatever. Anyway, y'all have a good one.